Breaking Bad is one of my all-time favorite shows. From the complexity in which it was written to the zero-fat storytelling and purposeful cinematography, it's an incredible work of art in my eyes. And Bryan Cranston, the lead actor in the show who portrays Walter White, did a tremendous job portraying a tormented character who underwent drastic, deliberate, and molasses-slow change. There was never a point in the series where I didn't believe Cranston's performance as the loved, hated, and infamous Walter White.
Say my name.
And while the outcome of Cranston's performance was incredible and contains many things we as artists can learn from, his simple approach to repeatedly achieve those results throughout his career is far more interesting to me.
My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
This is Process, a series that explores the many facets of creativity through dissection and execution. When we take a collective look at the art that inspires us and the artists responsible for creating it, it can be easy to become focused solely on the finished product. And when we take the steps to try and replicate their success, we all too often only look at the surface of their completed work rather than understand the unseen hours poured into their craft. And while we might see some level of growth and success from these actions, as an audience, we're still only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Until we understand the driving force behind those actions, we limit ourselves and our growth potential. In Bryan Cranston's autobiography, A Life in Parts, he describes a pivotal moment in his career that took him from an ordinary actor to an extraordinary one. Early in my career, I was always hustling, doing commercials, guest starring, auditioning like crazy. I was making a decent living, but I felt I was stuck in junior varsity. I wondered if I had plateaued. My mentor at the time, Brett Costin, suggested I focus on process rather than outcome. I wasn't going to the audition to get anything, a job or money or validation. I wasn't going to compete. I was going to give something. I wasn't going there to get a job. I was there to do a job. I was there to give a performance. If I attached to the outcome, I was setting myself up to expect and thus to fail. My job was to be compelling, take some chances, enjoy the process. A simple shift in his focus pushed Cranston to focus on the process instead of the outcome. And how many times do we as creators directly attach our happiness or our serenity or self-worth to the outcome of a project? If this video gets X amount of views, I'll be happy. If I sell X number of prints of this painting, I'll feel validated. These expectations are all outcome-based and can become extremely poisonous if not managed correctly. As Dr. Shelley Arneson writes, "My serenity is inversely proportional to my expectations. The higher my expectations of other people are, the lower my serenity." The amount of control we have over the outcome of things we create is astoundingly low, and yet sometimes it's the aspect we often worry about the most. If we instead take a page from Cranston's book and begin to focus on the process of our craft, we can then let the outcome worry about itself. Bill Walsh, a former head coach for the San Francisco 49ers, said so brilliantly, "The score will take care of itself." How silly and ineffective would it be if a team ran out onto the football field or a basketball court and spent the entire game just staring at or arguing over and analyzing the scoreboard? Not a whole lot would get done and they would most likely lose the game. But if they do their jobs well, the score will, in fact, take care of itself. Falling in love with the process isn't something that happens overnight. If you find yourself placing too much importance on the outcome, try and keep these points in mind as you move forward. Joseph "Smokin' Joe" Frazier was an American professional boxer and held the title of undisputed heavyweight champion from 1970 to 73. The idea of mastery was not foreign to Frazier. He states that champions aren't made in the ring. They are merely recognized there. Frazier knew that his pursuit to be a champion meant showing up day after day and improving his craft. As someone who creates content for YouTube, I have to remind myself that YouTube is the ring and that it's not where successes are made. It's everything that leads up to that point that counts. Dr. Anders Ericsson says, "At its core, practice is a lonely pursuit. When we commit to improving our craft, it will require us to work at it in quiet rooms, oftentimes by ourselves. The grind of this improvement is not glamorous and is abandoned by many when they realize the sheer amount of work it takes to achieve mastery. But it's this time and commitment to improving that separates the good from the bad." Ernest Hemingway writes, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self." Pressure is the result of limitations we put on ourselves to produce outcomes we don't control. That pressure can, in turn, cause us to make decisions we wouldn't normally make, like creating content to appease a hypothetical audience or trading in core values for the sake of attention and metrics. We have to remind ourselves that the pressure to come out on top or win are outcomes we can't control. We can, however, control our attitude and approach to the work we make, our mindset when we are doing the work, and the actions we take once the work is complete. It's only when we learn to truly fall in love with the process of our craft can we begin to make the shift from ordinary to extraordinary, from good to great, or from amateur to pro.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with future episodes, please subscribe if you aren't already. And if you want to support the series, you can do so over on Patreon, where patrons get a monthly vlog which documents what it takes to make these episodes happen. The first of these vlogs is live and ready for viewing over on Patreon. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.